Tea is getting expensive, but what if we could make our own from local plants that grow right where we live? During the past few months, I've been experimenting with local plants, pushing beyond simple herbal tisanes to go more towards the Chinese art of turning leaves into complex teas. In this video, I'm gonna attempt something ambitious, making oolong tea from scratch and using only local leaves. Let's see how far we can take it. Oolong tea is one of the most complex tea to prepare. That is because it can come in many shapes and tastes. Oolong actually refers to a broad term used for many different kinds of teas. In my previous video, I explained how leaves oxidize like apples. On one hand, we have green tea, which is completely unoxidized. And on the other, we have black tea, which is fully oxidized. Oolong is something that stands right in the middle, but it's slightly more complex than that. Basically, it's not that the leaves are, let's say, 30% oxidized. The masters seek maximal complexity in terms of flavor. So they deeply oxidize the edge of the leaves and keep the center unoxidized. This way you get a mix of green tea and black tea in the same cup. I mean, that's awesome, but it's also complicated to replicate. The best candidate for this is fireweed leaves. They're already widely used in Russia to make wild tea, and it grows pretty much everywhere. But you could also try this with hazel, strawberry, raspberry, or even blackberry would work. It's currently September right now, so the leaves are quite old at this stage. See, the outer edge is kind of already oxidized. Nature did some of the work already. That's actually good because it will make the taste of the final product more complex. I expose the freshly picked leaves to sunlight for 15 minutes and let the leaves wilt until the midrib can bend without cracking. The leaves are still alive at this point, so they respond to the stress that they're being exposed to. Here we're exposing them to UV and drought stress. This makes the leaves secrete various compounds which make it smell and taste amazing for us humans. Now we need to somehow break the outer edge of the leaves. Tea factories usually use some kind of rotating cylinder to achieve that. I mean, if only we had some kind of device that could mimic this rotating motion, that would be easily available. I think I got an idea. A simple salad spinner. This could work great. I've noticed that shaking it enhances the bruising effect, so you might want to do that. But you could alternatively bruise them by hand. But watch, I'm not pressing too hard, I'm just trying to rupture the surface of the leaves, not bruising their core. This will make you go more towards higher oxidation than with the salad spinner. Usually this step is done for 1 minute and then you let the leaves rest in a humid environment for about an hour. And you repeat this process 4 to 8 times until you achieve a pleasant smell. You should get some freshly cut grass smell after the process, and then it turns into something more floral, more fruity. If you smell that, you're on the right path. When the leaves smell good and you reach your desired level of oxidation, it's time to kill green. It basically means heating up the leaves to a high degree for a short period of time to inactivate the enzymes responsible for oxidation. With pan toasting, you'll get more of a toasted aroma in the final product. And with the steamer and microwave, you'll get more of a green, fresh taste. At the end, I put the leaves in a plastic bag to allow for moisture redistribution. Now we need to bruise the leaves. There's two reasons for that. The first one is to give them their final shape, and the second one is to bring the leaves juices to the surface, which will make the final product infuse more quickly. You could make rolls like I did here or use a rolling pin. I like rolls because then you can just cut them into strips, which makes for easier storage afterwards. Spread them on a cooking tray and dry until crisp at 90 degrees Celsius. At this stage, you got nice dry leaves which have a light floral smell. Now we close to the end, but there is still one step which is very important and will change everything. Roasting. This will transform the sugar in the plants into some kind of caramel. So we don't want to go too high in temperatures because that would burn the leaves, and we don't want to go too low because that would not enable caramelization. This step is actually very similar to roasting coffee. It will develop and unlock new flavors in the final product. Usually, leaves of lesser quality are deeply roasted to compensate their lack of quality. Since here we are at the end of the season, we do have lower quality leaves, so I think I'm gonna go for a deeper roast. Now I have a confession to make. Right after I finished roasting them, I felt like this was a complete fail because the leaves smelled like roasted bread and it was not very appetizing for tea. The thing is, I wasn't aware of the last step, resting. When the leaves are roasted, well, they smell roasted. If you allow them to breathe for a few days, up to 1 to 2 weeks, the roasted notes will kind of disappear, and then some kind of special sweetness, caramel, honey flavors will emerge. I found that in Taiwan, when they make oolong tea, they roast it many times and they let the leaves rest in some kind of a clay pot, which is porous and allows for some air exchange. Now, these pots are not easy to find, but you can easily substitute with a simple clean plant pot. It has to be unglazed to allow for gas exchanges, and don't forget to cover the hole with your best lucky coin. Let's prepare it. It has a deep, meaty, roasty flavor and some light floral notes at the top. I'm actually surprised by how good this turned out to be. This one's tastes a bit more grassy, and this one more meaty. I actually prefer this one. The best thing is this does not contain any caffeine, so I could drink this before going to bed. That's the second infusion, and it still looks amber. It worked, and I'm very happy. And this was just the start. If you want to see how far we can push the art of local tea, stick around. Also, I recently released a free mini guide to help you making your first wild teas. You can find it in the description below. Until next time, stay rooted.